it's Lisa from My Dreaming Soap. Welcome to my channel. Now, for today's soap, I've got this rather weird looking mould. And what this is, it's going to be for a Father's Day soap. And I was speaking to Paul, gosh, this was actually like a couple of years ago, about a soap for, you know, a bloke. And he said, why don't you do something like with a Spitfire or something in? So that's what I'm going to do. This is a mould for a Spitfire. Now, it's not going to be a mould that I sell in the shop because it's a really tricky mould. And the reason it's got this weird black tape around it is because it's a mould that I've actually had to split so that I'm going to be able to get this plane out of it. So it's literally just going to be a personal mould. I'm not 100% sure it's going to work because it's really quite detailed in there, but I'm going to give it a go. So this is going to be my Spitfire. So I've got my oils that I'm going to need, and for the Spitfire, now obviously there's various different types. You get some with sort of like the camouflage look on them, and the one I'm going to do, I think it's called a PR8. It's sort of like a bluey grey colour. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've got some royal blue mica here. And let's just pop that into my oils, because it's going to just be one solid colour. So I'm going to get those blended in with my oils, as I say, just one colour. Now I am going to tweak this colour because the plane isn't a dark blue. As I said, it's more of a sort of lighter grey sort of blue colour. So I'm going to get that blended in first, and then I'm going to add the other colours. I may even add a touch of grey in there, but we'll see how this colour develops. There's the birds in the tree outside. Right, let's get this lye solution in. That's my lye and my sodium lactate. Okay, so I've just got that mixed in a little bit. Not fully emulsified yet, because I just want to take some time trying to get this colour exactly how I want it. So that's my blue. Let's just, I'm going to pop some titanium dioxide in there. And the blue I've used, sorry, is royal blue from Mineral Makeup Ingredients. I think that's looking pretty good. That's giving me that nice sort of greyish blue colour. I think I might just leave that at that and not add any grey in, because it's sort of a greyish blue anyway. I'm aiming this as a Father's Day soap. There's nothing to say that, gosh, I'm sure there's quite a lot of ladies that like planes as well. So, right, let's get our fragrance in. I'm using Ocean's 8 fragrance from the Crafters shop in the UK. I'm happy with that colour, actually. Right, so let's get in this mould. Now, as I said, this mould is split down the sides, but it shouldn't leak because I've sort of tape those sides together. Right, let's get this in. Okay, so I think that's going to be fine. And now I'm just going to leave that overnight, and then we'll unmould it in the morning, and hopefully that'll be okay. I've unmoulded the plane, and it's come out really well, actually. I was quite worried about it because it's quite a, as you can see, quite an intricate model. So what I need to do with this is I need to just put like a little cockpit piece on it, and the little nose cone piece. And I've extruded both of those. So here is my little cockpit, and here's my little nose cone. And all I'm going to do with those is just attach them as I normally would with some nice clean distilled water. So I'm just going to go in here Okay, and then the nose cone. Now, I obviously could have made a mould where I would have poured that in separate colours, but it was just such an intricate mould that I just thought it's just easier to pour the base or the main part of the soap and then the extra bits, because they were sort of on the outside bits, I could attach like I'm doing now. Okay, so I'm now going to leave that to set, because obviously I want that nose cone and the cockpit to be nicely secured onto there, so when I put it into the soap it doesn't float off and look like the plane's having some sort of accident in the sky. The next thing I want to do is a decoration from the top. Now I'm going to make some roundels. Now there were various different types of roundels, and from the style of this plane, this Spitfire, it's a PR 8 or 11. There's all various types. I've been briefed by Paul. These ones seem to just have like a 2-colour roundel with the sort of the dark blue and the red inside. Whereas there are some other roundels also had white and a bit of yellow in, but these were the ones that I predominantly saw for this style of plane. So again, I've just extruded some red and blue. I'm just going to now put those together. I'm going to get that nicely sealed. Okay, and again, I'm going to let that set up a little bit, and then I'm going to cut those into slices, because these are just going to be little decorations on the top of the soap. Let's get this soap made up. So what I'm going to do is make a layer of clouds first of all. I've got to be really careful, because one of the things I'm slightly worried about with this soap is the colour of the plane is very close to the sky colour. But clearly I don't want to just have a plane that you can't see in my soap. So I'm going to add clouds and things around the plane to hopefully make it stand out more. So my first layer, I'm going to do some clouds. So I'm just going to add my lye solution and my sodium lactate into my oils. Let's get that blended up. Obviously my clouds, I want them to be white, or certainly white-ish, so I'm going to add some titanium dioxide into that. And then I'm just going to pour a very small amount of the white into this separate little pot, just because for that I'm just going to add a little bit of activated charcoal, just so I can have some sort of grey tints to some of the clouds. Now I don't want this to be a strong black, just want a tiny bit of the grey in there. Okay, so I think I'm pretty happy with those. And then my fragrance, exactly the same as what I had before, so I'm just going to divide that out. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to firm up a little bit, and then I want to shape that, because obviously it's looking very flat, not looking very cloud-like at the moment, is it? So I'm going to leave that to set up, and then we'll come back when it's time to shape it. I think we're ready to start shaping this now. So I'm just going to sort of rough it up a bit and make it kind of cloud-shaped. Now I could have done this with a scraper, but I just didn't want to make one, so I'm just going to do it with a spatula. I think I'm going to be pretty happy with that. So I'm just going to mix up my next layer of soap, and then I'll come back when that's done, because I'm sure you don't need to see me blending everything together. What I we've got here is the rest of my sort of clouds and sky. So what I did is I mixed up very lightly. I literally just took my oils and my lye solution for all of this soap together and just stirred it well together by hand. And then I split out, so I wanted 60% white and 40% blue. And I've just kept stirring them, so these are no way near emulsified yet. They're just everything mixed together nicely. And then I've just poured a small amount off of the blue into another pot. And all this is doing is just stop me working everything out and doing everything out and making up individual layers. So here, and say not emulsified at all yet. I'm just going to put those off to the side. And then I'm just going to deal with this first little bit that I've got. So here I now want to bring this to a consistency of a, light trace or something, just so I can get it into my mould. Okay, let's just add a tiny bit of the fragrance oil that I've got for this layer. So I've just put my mould onto my caterpillar. No, it's not the caterpillar, is it? This is the Cheshire Cat, the little soap balancer from Custom Craft Tools. I've warmed this up now. It feels quite hot actually. Yeah, 132, so it's quite nice and hot. Just going to give that a stir. Okay, so what I'm wanting to do is I need to support the plane. So I want to have some areas of this slightly higher so that I can work with getting this embed in, because I don't want to just drop it in and have it sink to the bottom. It needs to be at a particular angle because, again, it needs to be flying through the sky, not sort of crashing to the ground or anything hideous. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that on the Cheshire Cat and I'm just going to do the same with a little bit of the white and get that mixed up. Okay, and let's pour some of this white on. Okay, I think that'll be fine for now. The rest of this is only a tiny bit. I'm just going to scoop back in here. Okay, now I've got that setting up in there, I'm going to now bring these to a trace for the rest of the soap. Okay, I think that's going to do. So really what I'm trying to do is I've got this sort of bit of a balancing act that I need enough thick soap to support the plane, but I do also need thin soap to run in all around the gaps and the edges so that I don't end up with big old holes in the soap. So that's what I'm trying to get here. Let's get this fragrance in. Okay, so here's my plane. I'm going to try and get this in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some runny blue in so that I can fill the gaps. Do I want blue? Yes, I do want blue here because I've got cloud at the bottom, haven't I? I might actually take it off here now. I think I've finished with it being on the wonk. Okay, so we'll put some blue in there. And what I want to do is get my plane in here. I'm pushing it down so it sinks into the cloud. And I'm going to pour some more blue under here to fill it in. And just hope that's filling it up. Okay, so now I'm just going to do one last little diddly bit of soap. Now this is a weird bit of soap that I've got to do. It just all stems back to this whole thing about assessments in the UK. Now, as you know, if we have an assessment, it tells us, or we've asked what colours we want to use in our soap, and we're not allowed to change from that at all. So I'm just going to concentrate while I'm pouring out this lye so I get it right. And in my assessment that I've got here for this fragrance oil, this Ocean's 8, I do have Sunshine Yellow as one of the colours. And I guess the slightly weird thing that we have with our assessments is it means that anything we've asked to put in our soap, we have to put it in our soap. I'm going to pour off a couple of little bits because I'm going to use these for the top, just for a swirl on the top. Okay, that'll be plenty. And then the rest of this needs to be my Sunshine Yellow. So I'm just going to put some Sunshine Yellow in there and blend it up. So therefore, for this Sunshine Yellow, I'm going to just pop in a bit of a sun at the top there. Okay, so let's get the rest of this poured. Definitely want cloud to be right next to the plane as much as possible. Okay, and then for my Sunshine Yellow, I'm just going to put in some sort of little bit of a yellowish streak, just to give the impression of the sun. Okay, so I've managed to get my top nice and flat now. And remember I left these little bits of soap to the side? And that's because I just want you to add a tiny touch of black. I was going to add white as well because I wasn't sure how much white I was going to have on the top. Now, the reason I'm adding a little bit of black is because on these planes, on D-Day, they were painted with black and white stripes. So I'm just going to add some black to the top and then sort of swirl the top with a little, so it's sort of like black and white. I'm not going to do actual stripes, but I'm just going to do a nod to that with some little bits of black on here. Okay. Okay, so there we have the top of our soap done with those little roundels on the top. So I'm just going to pop this away to gel overnight and then we'll have a look to see what it looks like inside. Here we are with our Spitfire soap the next day. So let's get it cut, shall we, and see what we've got inside. That's come out quite well. Look at that. Wow, look at that green there that's come round. Remember, that's really weird. I know I put a little bit of yellow in at the top, but I just put that in very late on. And it can't be the fragrance oil that's affected that, because look, the blue here that I put, this bit of sky, has stayed blue, and this bit that's gone round the plane has actually gone green. That's very odd. I know this is a stable blue that I use. It's a blue that I use all the time, and you can see in the plane that it was fine. That's a little bit puzzling. I mean, admittedly, as I said, we could say, well, of course, yellow and blue makes green, but I poured all this in and I put in this. There's no way that this yellow affected this blue over here, so that's kind of odd. I'm not, as people say, I'm not mad with it, I'm not cross with it, because to me it just almost looks like the plane is flying, rather than looking at the plane sideways, to me it almost looks like it's flying over sort of the various bits of a landscape. You know, bits of the land and then bits of the sea. So I don't mind it at all, but that is confusing.
So let's just finish off with a final photo of the soap. And this is after it's fully cured, so you can see there was no change in those colours. But I think we have to put that down to one of those happy accidents. I really like it with the green in and thinking about the view from the top of the plane, sort of looking down rather than sideways, which was my intention. So if I do make it again, I think I'm definitely going to bring that green in by deliberately mixing the blue. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and you liked the soap. If you have, it would be great if you gave me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see what I'm making in the future, why not subscribe to my channel? Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy soaping!